Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, straight game TV. Wait for a few other people to come in here. Breaking news. Breaking news. Keefe D files for like Jay-Z, Keefe D, in his case, files for a motion to dismiss the murder charges that were filed in the Tupac case. Robert Brown, what's up? Lafayette, Indiana, in the building. What's happening? Waiting for some other people to come up in here so we can talk about it. Yeah, this one here, I don't really know. I need y'all feedback on this one. I'm gonna wait for some more people to come up in here. We got some people here watching, but they're not in the chat. They're watching from outside the chat, and that's okay too. Prime time was good. Roosevelt was good. Straight Game TV, your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter. Chad Chrisman, what's good? Like Chad say, smash the like button. Share it. Share it on your feed. Share it where it needs to be shared. Let's get into some of this straight game. Fatima, what's good? Tony Vega, Jim D, Smooth, One People, Michael B, Anchorage, Alaska, what's happening? Smash the like button. Smash the share button. We're gonna talk about this. I guess Keefe D's lawyer has been watching the situation with Jay-Z, and their trial begins basically in March, if you will. P. Diddy trial begins in May. Q Smooth, One People, JD, what's happening? So look, y'all. So Keefe D's lawyer today filed a motion to dismiss in the murder case, in his involvement in the murder case of Tupac Shakur. Fundamentally, Keefe D has a right to do that. And we seen what happened with the bail debacle. He was denied bail, couldn't prove where the funds came from, and all of these other things in reference to some kind of TV show or reality television show. The judge ultimately denied that. They did not appeal that decision, and so now Keefe D's lawyer, Carl Arnold, is trying to take another bite at the apple, if you will. What's interesting about this is basically this motion right here is Keefe D versus Keefe D, if you will, because most of what they have as evidence is his statements. But I'm gonna do it. You know, basically, we know it took nearly 30 years to arrest Keefe D, or anybody in relation to the murder of Tupac Shakur, and his lawyers now says that that the delay is exactly one reason that the charges should be dropped. The delay in bringing this case to some kind of conclusion. I would beg to differ based on the fact that Keefe D put up a formidable fight. Once again, they had jail conversations, as we know, when he was trying to get bail, and you know, the situation was just a mess. To be perfectly honest with you, it was not done in the way that it should have been done, and the stipulations that were attached to him trying to get bail was that he would do this television show instead of just trying to receive bail and then trying to work whatever he needed to work out after he got out. But I guess that was involving trust issues, whether you trusted him or not to keep his word if he did make bail from that perspective. So ultimately, Keefe D was denied bail. But Keefe D's lawyer saying, based on the delay that he's received in this situation and how long it's taken for him to be arrested, he feels like the case should be dismissed. And the motion filed today in Las Vegas, um, his lawyers basically saying that his constitutional rights have been violated through an unjustified, lengthy lag time, making for dimming of memories, like people can't remember the death of, or disappearance of witnesses, and the loss or destruction of material evidence. This is the grounds that Keefe D's lawyer is basically filing this motion to dismiss the murder charges against Tupac Shakur. Um, It basically is saying as far as back as 2009 that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department was in possession of the same set of facts that the Clark County District Attorney is now alleging that makes Mr. Davis responsible for the murder of Tupac Shakur. Davis attorney Carl Arnold said in the filing, basically claiming that Clark County District Attorney's Office has offered no reason as to why it waited another 14 years to prosecute a case against his client. This is in the motion to dismiss. And that Keefe D's case has been irreversibly compromised, his rights violated in an extraordinary manner never before witnessed in the annals of the American criminal system. This is what Keefe D's lawyers argue. And I can say this, once again, for the people who don't know, there is no statute of limitations on murder, right? And so as to the reason that the district attorney waited 14 years is the district attorney's prerogative. A lot of people, including Tupac's father, when I interviewed him on the Art of Dialogue, basically said that, hey, you know what? He felt the same way in regards to the government waiting so long to prosecute or find somebody to prosecute in reference to the murder of his son, right? And so I understand that argument, but that argument doesn't really bode well when you think about the law, understandably, that there's no statute of limitations on murder. So they could have waited 35 years. And if they found that somebody, or they gathered more evidence, they could have prosecuted then. But more importantly, other than that, you know, when you think about the big picture, is this, right? So Keefe D's lawyer also argued that prosecutors have no corroborating evidence. This is what they're saying. They're saying prosecutors have no corroborating evidence aside from Keefe D's confessions, right? Aside from Keefe D confessing on Vlad, confessing on the Art of Dialogue, confessing on other YouTube channels and documentaries, that he in fact passed the gun to the people in the back seat in order for somebody to assassinate or try to assassinate Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight on September 7th, 1996. Arnold argued prosecutors have no corroborating evidence aside from Davis's confessions, that the evidence comes solely from Davis's Keefe D's statements, right? And without a independent set of facts, the indictment against him must be dismissed. That's a great argument. But once again, that's going to be weighed by the judge in the case and trying to move forward. As we've seen with the judge in Keefe D's case, she's a no-nonsense judge. And the outbursts and things that had happened during the time of the bail hearing in reference to the evidence that was allegedly given to the court or given to the prosecutors by Greg Kading, Keefe D was pretty upset about that, as we saw that, right? And it played out in real time. And so once again, when we talk about the lawyer saying that, you know, the only evidence that the prosecution has against Keefe D is his confessions. Once again, Keefe D confessed to Greg Kading, the federal government, and the Los Angeles Police Department in their joint task force when they were investigating him for drug dealing. That's one time that he confessed, right? Involving the Proffer agreement. The second time he confessed was he confessed to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department after that. And we're going to get into that. So check this out. His lawyer also argues that too many witnesses have died and the unavailability of evidence has occurred during the prosecution's delay of this matter, Arnold said, itemizing the names of the allegedly on the scene, the people that were allegedly on the scene of Shakur's 1996 a drive-by shooting near the Las Vegas Strip. From Suge Knight driving the BMW with Shakur to the three men allegedly in the Cadillac with Davis to Sean Diddy Combs, whom Davis has claimed solicited a $1 million hit on Knight and Shakur, that was reported, and we all heard about that for years now, and as of recent, since Keefe D has been arrested, right? Um, Basically, Keefe D's lawyer is saying because all of these men are either dead or incarcerated, his lawyer is saying they are unfortunately unavailable. Now, once again, they don't need to be available. I understand his argument, and the reason why is because Keefe D went on public platforms and confessed to his involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Not only did he confess in the involvement, right, but he was uh, recorded saying that he thought it was funny that Tupac looked like he was breakdancing in the front seat of the car when the bullets were being fired, and also that he was standing on the corner when the ambulance rolled by, and he said that he, quote, thought that shit was funny, right? These are all of the things that Keefe D has said. And that's why the title, when you see the title of this video, is basically, can he overcome his confessions, right? So basically, his lawyer saying, but because all of these men, including Suge Knight, Sean P. Diddy Combs, and all the people that were alleged to be in the Cadillac also are dead or incarcerated, and unfortunately none of them are available, that's another reason why he deems that this case should be dismissed. To cap it off, Carl Arnold, Keefe D's lawyer, says an immunity agreement initially promised to Keefe D by the cops who first enticed him to start telling his story is not being honored. Now, once again, they have mischaracterized a proffer agreement from an immunity agreement. And like I said, it's up to the judge, and I'm sure they would submit, or at least the prosecution or Keefe D's lawyer would submit to the court the details of the proffer agreement. I'm sure Greg Kading probably could, expound a little bit more on that in regards to what that means and what was contained in there. But from what I understand about a proffer agreement, when you sign a proffer agreement, it's kind of like a queen for a day, if you will. Everything that you say in that proffer agreement has to be true and in effect correct. If it is not correct, and they find out at any time in throughout history from that point of the time that you did it that you made an incorrect statement, right? You can and should be and will be charged with the initial crime that you were investigated for, as well as the crime that they gave you the deal, right? The crime that they gave you. So now, the drug charge that he was facing, he could be charged with that now. And the reason why he could be charged with that now, because Keefe D admitted, or his defense is now, is that he lied. So basically, he's saying, okay, I lied in the proffer agreement. So it doesn't bode well for him either way from that perspective. And also, he can be charged now with the crime of the murder anyway. This is the reason why I don't think that this argument would actually work from that perspective, right? Check it out. And it says, Sean P. Diddy Combs has vehemently denied any role in Shakur's shooting, right? Keefe D confessed to his role in the Shakur homicide in 2008 to detectives on a joint federal Los Angeles task force, right? According to the police at the time, Davis made his admissions as part of what is well known as a proffer agreement, right? So that, what he told investigators couldn't be used against him at that time. But in fact, when you do a proffer agreement, everything that you're telling the investigators must be found out to be true, and you can't be found to be lying at any other time past that. So when Keefe D was arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur and his involvement, he then made the defense that, oh, I was lying, I did it for money, I did it for fame, I did it for all of these other reasons now, which puts, aside from other things, puts the actual proffer agreement in jeopardy, or better yet, makes it worthless. It's not even worth the paper that it's written on at this particular time. So check it out, right? So he's basically saying that, hey, you know what? They gave me this in 2008. The detectives on a joint, a federal Los Angeles task force, they gave me a proffer agreement, which Keefe D was not supposed to go on Vlad, go on Art of Dialogue, and speak about what he spoke about once again. Remember, the proffer agreement that he agreed to, all the information that he agreed to in the proffer agreement was the only time that he should talk about that. He was not able to go then and talk about it, double down, and then start confessing on it again on Vlad, Art of Dialogue, and anywhere else. And in him doing that, he violated the proffer agreement, and therefore that's why the Las Vegas Police Department and had arrested him and charged him with the murder of Tupac Shakur. And those statements, as well as that video evidence from the Art of Dialogue, Vlad, and other documentaries, are now going to be used in court to convict Keefe D involving him in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Once again, Keefe D has nobody to blame but himself. That's why I said, my question is, can he overcome his own statements, basically, right? And so him confessing in 2008 to a joint federal task force, right? So, okay, that's one time that we understand that he confessed and was alleged to have being given a proffer agreement. That's Los Angeles. But check it out. According to police at the time, Keefe D made his admissions as part of what was known as a proffer agreement. So what he told investigators could not be used against him in court. But in 2009, the very next year, in 2009, Keefe D sat down with the Las Vegas Police Department, right? To tell his version of events again. And again confirmed his shot caller role in Shakur's killing, basically. And this is on tape, right? Now, once again, I don't know who Keefe D's lawyer was at that particular time, but whoever his lawyer was did not do him any kind of favors involving this situation. Keefe D lawyer now argues that the original proffer agreement should still hold now. What I'm seeing from this is I think that Keefe D's lawyer is basically trying to put up a fight that he really know he can't win, but he's going through the motions to be able to do it. And the reason why I say this is Carl Arnold, as a skilled and professional lawyer, knows well and good that when you have a proffer agreement, there are certain things that you must adhere to. And one of those things that you must adhere to in doing that is the truth. And another thing, you cannot speak on what you spoke on in the proffer agreement in public. What was said there stays there, and that's where it's supposed to stay. So in Carl Arnold trying to put this motion to dismiss the murder charges, I think it's a very weak motion, but I think he's doing his job as Keefe D's attorney and trying to get the charges dismissed, which I truly believe won't happen. And the reason why I'm gonna tell you that, check it out. Listen, the state of Nevada is in possession of the 2009. Basically, what Keefe D's lawyer is saying, that the state of Nevada was in possession of the 2009 of the facts that they possessed in 2023 when they arrested Keefe D. So they're saying like, yo, his lawyer's saying, they had the same information in 2009 that they arrested Keefe D for in 2023, right? Specifically, his alleged statement that he was in the white Cadillac and handed the gun to the backseat passengers, which was utilized to shoot Tupac Shakur. Keefe D's lawyer said, and prosecutors must now honor the initial proffer agreement in 2008, and that Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's promise not to prosecute Mr. Davis. But that's not true, right? Like I said, this is one side of the argument in regards to that. He's saying that, hey, they must now argue that and honor that agreement. No, Keefe D was not granted immunity. Keefe D was granted, in fact, a proffer agreement. And if you can look up what a proffer agreement is, the standardized proffer agreement, the government doesn't really deviate from how they do things from that perspective. And so when they gave him the proffer agreement, he couldn't talk about anything that he talked about in that proffer agreement publicly on any kind of platform. And Keefe D broke the proffer agreement in that way. And also when he got arrested after he did that, basically saying that he lied. He had lied to Greg Kading. He had lied to the Federal Joint Task Force. He basically said that he lied. So now that Keefe D's lawyers arguing that the government must honor that, it's crazy to me. You know what I mean? When you understand the facts that involve that situation, right? So Keefe D's lawyer also argues that prosecutors are refusing to honor the proffer agreement provided to Mr. Davis by the federal government and by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. But in fact, Las Vegas had nothing to do with the Joint Federal Task Force investigations against Keefe D and the proffer agreement. So my question is, at that particular time, why would Keefe D then go volunteer to talk to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department after he got the proffer agreement from Los Angeles, and the federal government? Like, what? Why would he do that, right? So now, this is what Las Vegas is basically saying. Las Vegas is saying this. They what I just said, right? But the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department had no role. They're saying we had no role in the Joint Task Force agreement, and Vegas detectives did not promise Keefe D never to prosecute Davis. So they basically saying when we talked to him, we didn't promise that we wouldn't prosecute him, right? We just wanted to hear his story and listen to what he had to say, and they're basically saying that's what they did, right? According to the interview recordings of that 2009 confession after he received the proffer agreement in 2008, according to the interview recordings and the transcripts, right, of that interview with the Las Vegas police, only that they said only that they were not there to arrest Keefe D. This is what they said in the transcripts. They said, we're not here to arrest Keefe D at the time of that confession, which was not a proffer, but rather a voluntary statement. Are you kidding me? Keefe D said he was a gangster. He's given voluntary statements. Like I said, I wanted to know, well, who was his lawyer? And what lawyer would allow his client to speak to the Metropolitan Police Department in where the actual crime happened without any kind of deal in place to protect his client? And in fact, they're saying, based on the transcripts and the recordings of that agreement where Keefe D voluntarily confessed, right? It was not a proffer agreement, but rather a voluntary statement, prosecutors have said. And in fact, at that time, Davis acknowledged, Keefe D acknowledged doing that statement, acknowledged that no authorities from the Las Vegas had promised him anything. So in the interview, when they conducted the interview, they basically asked him, you haven't been promised any kind of deal or anything to sit here and talk to us, correct? And Keefe D agreed that, yeah, he had been, offered no kind of deal in talking to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. So that statement, in fact, is permissible in court. How does he get around that statement? That's my question to you guys in the chat. How do you think he's going to get around that statement? And in fact, he basically agreed that they offered him no deal in the Vegas confession, and that it was completely voluntarily, right? um, basically there were concerns among Vegas authorities then in 2009. This is what Las Vegas is saying. There was a concern among Vegas authorities then in 2009 that Davis would argue in court that both sets of alleged confessions were inadmissible because of the proffer agreement gave him immunity, even though Las Vegas police had no role in making that agreement. Uh, uh, so basically in 2009, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department saying, yo, we didn't charge Keefe D in 2009 because they were afraid that Keefe D would argue in court that both sets of alleged confessions, the one made the year before that he did under the proffer agreement, and the one that he did in 2009, that Keefe D would argue that none of those statements were admissible because of the proffer agreement gave him immunity, even though that Las Vegas police had no role in making that agreement. So that's the reason why they saying basically, hey, yo, you know what? We didn't prosecute it because of that reason, if you will, right? And if a judge were to side with Davis, they figured that they would likely have doomed any prosecution. So basically, they're saying that if a judge decided that, you know, if they locked him up in 2009 and he argued that, hey, you know what, both of those statements that I made are inadmissible because they was done under a proffer agreement, even though Vegas had not agreed to any kind of agreement, and the judge agreed that, yeah, well, he made one to you and he made this to them, and you guys decided not to prosecute or did decide to prosecute. They were scared that, that if a judge agreed with them, they would likely lose the opportunity to prosecute or have any kind of prosecution, and that's why they didn't seek it in 2009. That's what the Las Vegas authorities are basically saying. Listen, but this is the reason why they did come to the conclusion now, and they arrested him last year. But in preceding years, that became a non-issue. Listen, for the people who do not understand and were not listening to understand, well, why, they waited so long, when they had all of that evidence. Like I said, there's no statute of limitations on murder. They can charge you 35, 70, 80 years later. We've seen situations where they found the murder of somebody through DNA that they didn't have because DNA wasn't really available, right? But listen, they said, but in preceding years, that became a non-issue. Them worrying about whether he would say that, hey, these statements are inadmissible, right? The proceedings, but in preceding years, that became a non-issue because Keefe D, listen, against his own best interest, Keefe D would ultimately go on to repeatedly recount his confessional role in the killing. Like I told you, he spoke on it in the proffer agreement. He was not supposed to speak on it anymore. And the proffer agreement explicitly says that when people sign the proffer agreement, right? So in the preceding years, they're saying that became a non-issue. They didn't have to worry about that no more because Keefe D would ultimately go on to repeatedly recount his confessional role in the killing, not only to police, but in the media, including in a 2018 docuseries and on the pages of the memoir he would publish in 2019. His book, Art of Dialogue, Vlad TV, a 2018 docuseries, right? And as we know in his book, right, which really didn't sell. Like I said, you're going up against Tupac fans and people who really, are not going to support anything like that because, I mean, Greg Kading did the murder rap, which I think covered most of what, was in the book and what they knew from what they understood from Keefe D's confession. Listen, Keefe D's own public words invigorated the investigation. Listen, Keefe D's own words, basically, like he was scot-free in the clear if he never said anything. If he never wrote the book, if he never went on Art of Dialogue, if he never went on Vlad, if he never did the docuseries in 2018, he was in the clear. The proffer agreement would stand, right? Davis's own public words reinvigorated the investigation that led the lead of Vegas Homicide Bureau, Lieutenant Jason Johansson, right? And would be the key, his own confessions would be the key in the case against him and would ultimately land him in the Las Vegas jail where he now has been held since September of 2023. Keefe D is now scheduled to go back to the court for a hearing, right, to argue his motion on January 21st. His trial is set for when? March 17th. So mark your calendars. I want the chat to tell me what you guys think. Do you think Keefe D is going to be able to ultimately overcome his own confessions, his voluntary confessions, and his total disregard for the parameters of the Proffer agreement, which he was not supposed to speak? What do you think? What do you guys think? Carla Shepard says she don't think he's getting out of this. I totally agree with you. Like I said, just based on the evidence alone, his own confessions, and not so much his own confessions, but like I said, the Las Vegas Police Department, they basically said that their hands weren't really tied, but they felt like, you know what? At that particular time, the proffer agreement was so fresh that even though they got a voluntary statement against from Keefe D, they weren't going to move forward with that because they felt like he could bring up the fact that, hey, I got a proffer agreement. That's the only reason why I spoke to Las Vegas after I did the deal with the federal government and the Los Angeles Police Department, right? But guess what? They're basically saying, you know what, in the preceding years, that became a non-issue because Keefe D would ultimately go on to repeatedly recount his confessional role in the killings. Like I said, he could have confessed that to the government in that agreement, but he couldn't then go back out and be like, yeah, I did get a gun to the people in the back seat and do all of this. Man, if I was on the if I was back there on his side, I would have bust on him. I would have did it. But and saying all of the things that he said. This is, I mean, like I said, and you got to go through the formal aspect of trying to, fight a case, right? Keefe D's lawyer, Carl Arnold, I think he's just putting his best foot forward for Keefe D at this particular time. But I don't think the mountain of statements and confessions that Keefe D made, I don't think he can overcome this. This is not a question of he said, she said. This is a question of the person who was actually in the car, admitted to being in the car, admitted to handing them the gun, admitted to driving down to the 662 Club to look for them, admitted to jumping out the van back into the Cadillac, admitted to standing on the corner thinking it was funny that Tupac had been shot and the ambulance was on the way to the hospital, thinking that they fucking with the wrong people and blase, blase, blah. All of the statements that Keefe D has made in regards to this situation. Like I said, it's one thing to be alleged to have done something, but it's another thing to be your own worst, be the convicting factor, or should I say the evidence against your own self. That's why they say when you arrested, right? What you say can and will be used against you. Just like when you go sit down for a statement with the police, he sat down with voluntarily sat down with the Las Vegas Police Department, and they did not give him a proffer agreement. They did not promise him an agreement, and Keefe D admitted. It is said that Keefe D admitted in the transcripts as well as in the recordings. They asked Keefe D, "You have not been promised anything here in order for you to sit down with us and talk to us about the murder of Tupac Shakur, have you?" And Keefe D said no. And that's in the Las Vegas situation. So how does he now argue that somehow that the both of those statements, or at least the one in Las Vegas, should be inadmissible, or the case should be dismissed after all of that evidence. I don't really understand, like I said. And it was Keefe D's own public words that reinvigorated, his own words agitated the Las Vegas Police Department so much, right, as for them to go and arrest Keefe D and charge him in the murder, in relation to the murder of Tupac Shakur in September 2023. Yeah, I agree with you, Gigi. I agree with you, Markeith. Yeah, tell him, Markeith Bankroll, smash the like button, smash the share button. You know what I mean? Like I say, we give nothing but straight game. Like I say, what I wanted to know from the chat basically is, truthfully, honestly, do you think that Keefe D is going to be able to overcome his own confessions, his own reinvigorated statements that he made on Vlad Art of Dialogue and all these other places, the 2018 docuseries, and on the pages, basically, I would say more so than anything, in the pages of his book. I think the book is going to be the ultimate thing that actually that ultimately comes to really, put the nail in the coffin of this situation, in involving this murder situation of Tupac Shakur. I think Keefe D's memoir is going to be the thing that ultimately they'll listen to the confession that he gave, um, uh, the statement that he gave Greg Cade and them in the proffer agreement. They'll listen to the 2008 statement. They'll listen to the 2009 statement he gave to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. But what shows a consciousness of guilt, right, is the fact that when he went on Vlad and he, basically was on this little mini book tour and doing the interview, he was talking about his book. And one statement that Keefe D said is that we not listening to no motherfuckers that wasn't there and they don't know what happened and so on and so forth. Pick up my book because it's nothing but the truth. And I'm paraphrasing when I say that, but he was basically touting that his book was nothing but the truth. Okay, they're gonna take that statement, right? Play that in court. Then they're gonna go to the excerpts of the book. And when he said various things and admitted to various things, as far as Tupac looked like he was breakdancing, and all of the other things, statements that he made in the book in relation to the murder of Tupac Shakur. Do you think, after knowing all of this information and the information that we've gathered over the months and over the years, that Keefe D can overcome his own statements? What do you think in the chat, y'all? Yes or no? Yeah, absolutely, Darren Johnson. I totally agree with you on that. Like I said, he's saying what Keefe D said, if he wasn't tripping, but before he was asked on the Art of Dialogue, Art had asked him, what do you think about people saying that the police, you're gonna be arrested, and for the murder of Tupac Shakur, um, and basically said that he said that if he's arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur, then Reggie, the Rat Wright Jr., should be arrested for the murder of Biggie Smalls, if you will. Gigi said no. Eric Barton said no. Carla, she said no. Yeah, if you didn't hear me in the chat, yo, so do y'all think that Keefe D is going to be able to overcome his own statements in order to succeed or prevail in this motion to dismiss the murder case against him involving Tupac Shakur? Yes or no? Gigi said no. Eric Barton said no. Carla Shepard said no. Fatima, she said no. Crystal Hope said no. Yeah, I think we got some very intelligent and enlightened people just based on the information that Hurry 2323 had said no. Pancho Villa said no. Mar Dizzle said no. Ghetto Life Boxing said no. Red Man. Well, we don't know who had contracts on anybody. We just know based on the information they have motive. The motive was the fight at the MGM Grand, right? And retaliation was what happened in regards to the situation. And like I said, for all we don't know about the evidence that the Las Vegas and the prosecutors have that we haven't seen yet. You understand what I'm saying? It seems like Keefe D's lawyer Carl Arnold is really grasping at straws, trying to get this case dismissed, if you will. But I don't think it'll work based on the evidence. And the judge can't go about her feelings. She has to go on based on what she understands and knows to be solid proof evidence, right? So she reads the proffer agreement, and the proffer agreement says that you can't make any statements outside of this proffer agreement. And once again, like the Metropolitan Police and the prosecutors are saying, it was Keefe D's own words, right? But in the preceding years, after the proffer agreement, they're saying in the preceding years that became a non-issue, that they wouldn't arrest him based on the fact that he did have a proffer agreement, right? Right, so that became a non-issue when he wrote the book. That became a non-issue when he went on Vlad. That became a non-issue when he did the docuseries. That became a non-issue when he did the Art of Dialogue, right? So now, and I think equally, all of those platforms, you know, share a piece of, like, I wouldn't say a piece of it. Big people are just asking questions. It's up to Keefe D to respond. People want to say, "Oh man, no, 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 no. Nobody set anybody up. Nobody did anything like that." Keefe D went on there. He was paid to come make statements, and you know he made the statement. He was asked questions, and basically, I remember on the Art of Dialogue in particular. If y'all haven't seen that interview, y'all might want to go watch that. I remember Art asked him. He said, so what did y'all do after the thing?" He was like, he talked about how they put the gun under the wheel well, and all of these other things, and you know, what kind of emotion they showed. Like, you couldn't show no emotion, you couldn't show no weakness or nothing like that. These are very intricate details, right? As to the reaction that Keefe D had after knowing and admitting that he had just participated in the situation that he participated in, involving the shooting of Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight on that night. I don't know how you get around that. I don't know how you get around that. Like I said, once again, even talking about, Keefe D even told the Metropolitan Las Vegas, not the proffer agreement situation, but he even told the Metropolitan Police Department that what he did with the gun. He told Vegas what he did with the gun. You understand what I'm saying? So when they said, well, there's no concrete evidence, right? Keefe D said he got rid of the gun. So they wouldn't have no concrete evidence, but the statement that they got from him would basically say why. You know what I mean? So when they go into court, they say, well, and like I said, I don't know if Keefe D would take the stand in his own defense. I would hope that he would. If he can explain it, I would hope that he would take the stand in his own defense based on saying, hey, and then now he has a right to be cross-examined. But if he stays quiet and relies on his lawyer, you can't. Carl Arnold won't be able to win this case from that perspective. Keefe D would need to take the stand and defend himself and explain why he believes that he should not be convicted in this case. When he does that, they're going to go to the statements. They're going to go to the actual interview that he did in 2009. And they're going to pull up the transcript, and they're going to say, on page 7, line 9, right? You said that after you participated in the murder of Tupac Shakur, that you got rid of the gun. Wouldn't that explain why we have no gun as evidence today? And you can hear Carl Arnold saying, objection, Your Honor. And the judge saying, overruled. You know what I mean? Because now we're in the place where now you deal with facts, and you just don't deal with what people are saying and what people are feeling. You know what I mean? It's not about that when you get to court. That's the thing that I'm talking about when you sit down. And I could just go through it in my head, like, the things that he said and what happened with that. You say yes, the gym footage is strange because it doesn't show everything. It don't show other camera footage. Oh, best believe they had, for what they needed at that particular time. You best believe they got all the angles. They got the tapes. They got the tapes that's in that box, and all of that. That we saw from, because like I said, there's the tapes when they were walking through the hotel and all of that, like the tapes from earlier that night. But it wasn't a factor. Like when Tupac and them were when Tupac was going to the fight. Remember, he had that like gold or copper shirt on with the collar on it, right? When he was going to the fight, like that wasn't a particular focal point at that time. Nothing was really happening during that time, right? But we seen that somebody from the MGM Grand were actually filming Tupac, as well as after the fight when he was excited and they were standing outside the thing after Mike Tyson had knocked Bruce Seldon out, right? So now with that, now if you go to the sky, the eye in the sky from that particular point, then they're gonna be able to look at everything. This is what's gonna make this situation, this case, very, very interesting, because we're gonna see shit we never saw before. We're gonna see footage we never saw before. You know what I mean? They showed us Orlando standing up against the wall when the police were talking to him after the situation. You see what I'm saying? So, but then if you go back and they said, well, hey, let's go back. Now let's focus on, and we got to look at this footage and kind of zoom in. Okay, there he is right there. Okay, there they are right there. And they're going to have everything. And so that's the thing that's going to be so interesting about this whole situation. And, like I said, once again, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had offered up this lie and asked Frank Alexander to lie about saying that Orlando tried to snatch Tupac's chain, which simply didn't happen. Not only did it not happen, but Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., the failed security guard and the failed security company that failed Tupac on that night, was nowhere in the vicinity to be able to make that observation to ask Frank to lie. And Frank, he wasn't that stupid to know that, yo, there's cameras. How can I lie about something that's actually on camera? And Tupac and probably at that particular time, Orlando never really came in the vicinity of each other for Orlando to even try or attempt to snatch any kind of chain. You understand what I'm saying? This is the stuff that once again, when you're thinking and you're intelligent, and you're not gonna. That's why Frank wouldn't lie about nothing like that. Other than his relationship with Tupac, Frank was like, why would I lie about something like that? When in fact, there's cameras. You know what I mean? So now Frank's Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was asking Frank to perjure himself and put himself in the line of fire, right? When he didn't have to. All he had to simply say was what happened. The truth is enough, right? No need to, and then Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. made up this old statement about how the reason why he asked Frank to lie was to prevent Tupac from going back to prison. Tupac was in a university medical center in a damn coma at the time that at the time that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was suggesting that Frank Alexander lie, not even knowing whether Tupac was going to even live or not. So that the lie that he made up about him trying to prevent Tupac from being violated and going back to prison was just that. Another lie to save his ass, because he had failed and knew for a fact that he had pulled Michael Moore, and he tried to pull all of the other security off of Tupac that night. That is a matter of fact, not only from what I'm telling you, but Michael Moore said it out of his mouth. The guy who was actually pulled off of Tupac that night. You understand what I'm saying? So, like I said, when we deal with the facts on all of that, and then when it came time to convene the grand jury, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was one of the first people to run to the grand jury talking about things that he didn't know. He wasn't there. He failed his what he called his confidant and best buddy in Suge Knight, the guy who actually gave him the job. When it came time to be there to do what was necessary, Reggie was nowhere to be found. But when Keefe D grand jury convened, Reggie was right there. And what came out? What was admitted? What was admitted that was lied about for the last 30 some odd years was this, that the walkie-talkies, or should I say the Nextel radios, that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had lied about for 20 some odd years, saying that it did not have a walkie-talkie feature. He said that for 20 years. When he went in front of the grand jury, he tried to once again shift the blame to Frank Alexander, saying that Frank didn't contact him on what? On the walkie-talkie feature. So he admitted to the grand jury, after 20 some odd years of denying it and lying about it, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. admitted that the Nextel radios, like Michael Moore had said when he heard "Got Him," he said after the Tupac thing, he heard "Got Him," and then he heard somebody over the radio say, "Don't talk on the radio," right? Reggie denied that also, right? But in the grand jury, he admitted that the Nextel radios had a walkie-talkie feature, and he said Frank Alexander didn't contact him. These are all facts, y'all. I've done videos about it. You can go check it out right now and look at some of the old videos that I put out. You understand what I'm saying? So when Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. speaks on anything in relation to Tupac Shakur, you must know that he's lying. If he speaks on anything related to the Outlaws, you must know that he's lying. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He just wants to be involved with something that is historical. He didn't make any music, didn't write any songs. He was simply security. And Suge Knight has recently came out and spoke on Dave Mays' podcast, right? Information to this effect. Michelle Lay was running death row when Suge Knight was in prison. I showed you guys that information also. But when Suge Knight finally came out, so I need you to understand that, because there's people that have been trying to come and like Tupac said, they're like a Judas was to Jesus. They only came to cause confusion. They only came to cause confusion. When you understand that, right, you're going to understand what the truth is and what it's not. Suge Knight said it. I keep repeating it to you guys, but I need to keep repeating it because once again, the lies have been repeated so many times, you don't know what to believe. Suge Knight said, and I'm going to say it once again. You can go look at the videos that I did. Suge Knight said, I had two of the best guys, meaning two of the best security guards on Tupac Shakur that night on September 7th, 1996. And he said after that, but Reggie pulled them off of him. And then he said after that, it didn't have to happen like that. Meaning, Tupac and him didn't have to happen or happen to be shot like that. Or the situation involving the fight at the MGM Grand, if proper security protocol was followed when Suge Knight asked Reggie to send 5 more security guards. Suge Knight then said, I told Reggie to send 5 more security guards, and they sent nobody. That is a blatant dereliction of duty. Period. That's insubordination. And so when we understand the totality of what this is, and then to go in to the grand jury and now make the confession, which revealed the truth, that Michael Moore was telling the truth when he heard "Got Him" over the radio. Reggie tried to say, no, the Nextel radios at that particular time didn't have the walkie-talkie feature. Reggie, by his own admission, proved that was a lie. How about that? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Lied and said, hey, I didn't know I was fired. I didn't know Tupac fired me. But then I let you hear the video and where he admitted it, that Tupac had sent him a fax over firing him. How in the hell he didn't know? If he made a video saying that Tupac had sent the fax over, the very fax that Yasmin Fula, Yaki Gaddafi's mom, released just a few years ago. But when it came out, he began to deny it. But he forgot he had already spoke on the Tupac and sent them the facts over firing him. When? On August 27th, 1996, approximately 13 days before Tupac was shot. He was mad. He was mad. And then once again, he comes and he talks about what? Oh, well, how did Tupac fire me? And my security was on him in the MGM Grand that night. Frank was on him. Oh no, but where was Michael Moore? You pulled Michael Moore off of him. Hold on. Better yet. Oh, let me explain that to y'all, because the people who get confused and lost in translation when he tell these lies, let me tell you, Tupac fired Reggie. Listen, the night we was at the Hollywood Athletic Club, right? There was Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s security with Tupac, right? Tupac was on his personal time at that time. He had just got out of jail. This was October 18th, 1995. I was at the house of Hollywood Athletic Club when Tupac met Faith Evans, when that situation started. Tretch was there. Tretch was with Arnell Simpson. I'm the one who let the world know about the intricacies of what happened that night. Nobody ever knew until I came on the Art of Dialogue and I talked about that, right? So I'm just telling you how. So the security was with Tupac, and Tupac was on his personal time. When Tupac fired Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. security company on August 27th, 1996, he was firing the company for the personal, like when he was when the security was with him at the Hollywood Athletic Company. I mean Hollywood Athletic Club. He was firing them personally, not through the death row, right? So now in Vegas, when Suge says that he told Reggie to send 5 more security guards to guard Tupac that night, that was business under the contract of Death Row Records. And therefore, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was supposed to follow that order so that we don't get it confused. Because you hear people, well, if Reggie was fired, then how was it his fault? No, it was his fault based on the fact that Reggie worked for Death Row Security, and Death Row as a company protecting their investment, and as along with Interscope, because we know that Tupac wasn't really signed with Death Row, but he was masquerading under Death Row, but still signed to Interscope. Tupac was the investment. And to protect the investment, Death Row hired Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s failing security company to be the security under Death Row and to protect Death Row's artists as well as its CEO. That's how. So when Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. comes out and tells you guys these other lies, like, because y'all ain't know I was fired. We know that's a lie now. Well, the walkie-talkie didn't have a two-way radio. We know that was a lie now. Beyond any shadow of a doubt. Not because of what I'm saying, because of the evidence and the proof that has been shown to you through statements and documentation. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we here, 2024, January. Keefe D now has put up his fight, which he legally is allowed to, basically saying, hey, you know what? Everything I said was a lie. I did it for money. I did it for clout. I did it for fame. I did it for all of these things, right? And you guys have spoken in the chat, and I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Yeah, absolutely. I had heard about that Free Suge TV. Thank you for that. Free Suge TV said Reggie snitched to the feds and the Los Angeles Police Department after the Vegas incident and told them that Suge was hiring gang members as security and about to flee the country. Reggie was trying to get Suge's probation revoked. Oh, wow. That's new evidence. That's new information to me. You see what I'm saying? But not only that, Reggie's called Suge a snitch. This is the guy who gave Reggie the job. Reggie wouldn't be on the internet talking to nobody about nothing if it wasn't for Suge Knight. And he just blazing this defamed Suge, over and over again. And then 1 minute he comes back and then he acts like he's trying to speak in favor of Suge. It's Suge because me and him always we have had disagreements and arguments and all of this. But the truth of the matter is Suge Knight don't fuck with Reggie Wright. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. And like I said, he lied about the fact that Yasmin Fuliyaki Gaddafi was supposed to come on bomb first. He lied about the fact that Suge Knight was supposed to come on bomb first. All of these lies to try to get people to think that he was more closer or affiliated to the situation than he actually was. But the only truth of the matter is Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. failed Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur. He sabotaged the security on September 7th, 1996. He lied about the fact that the Nextel radios didn't have a walkie-talkie feature. The truth came out when he went and attempted to offer up rubbish in the Keefe D grand jury investigation. Once again, and the plethora of lies that he's told and continues to tell, the defamation and the defamatory statements that he continues to make about people, including people like the Art of Dialogue who helped Reggie out when Reggie was in prison. It was Art of Dialogue that helped that guy out. Now he's talking crazy about the Art of Dialogue. Isn't that something? When you was down at your worst, the guy that was trying to help you out, putting money on your commissary and all of that, you really didn't know he was trying to help you out. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is out here now talking and speaking defamatory lies about the Art of Dialogue and myself. So like I said, once again, I must keep it honest and on point at all times to let you know what the truth and the fact and what this straight game is truly about. Not about us making unbiased decisions, opinions, and all of that. Looking at what the evidence is, giving our opinion about what we think about, what may or may not happen, you know what I mean? And not leaning to one side or the other. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So, like I said, we're gonna see what happened with this Keefe D situation, man. But this is very interesting. The Keefe D, like I said, the trial begins on March 17th. The trial and death of Tupac Shakur begins on March 17th, 2024. And it's going to be must-see TV. It's going to be must-see TV because we're going to see a lot of things that we have not seen. Yeah, you got. Well, I did. What did he? Just go watch any video. Like I said, if you go watch the video, you'll hear all of what Carla Shepard is basically telling you, Red Man. So definitely, she's on point with that. So you can just go back. I think I did a video a couple of days ago in which I did that. Yeah. So it's a recent video in which I did. Like I said, I had to show the world what was actually said versus what the conflicting statements, or should I say the lies that were told. I had to show the world, like, yo, listen to this. Because y'all not, you know what I mean? You hearing from somebody who you think, oh, Reg was the security, you know what I mean? No. Reg ran death row. No. He failed. He's a failed drug dealer, a failed money launderer, a failed police officer, a failed head of security death row. He failed Tupac Shakur. He failed Suge Knight. He failed his own security company and the people that work for him and trying to get them to assist him in telling lies. That's not my words, y'all. I'm not talking about what I'm saying. I'm telling you what Frank Alexander said if you haven't heard it. I'm telling you what Michael Moore said if you haven't heard it. I'm telling you what Suge Knight said if you have not heard it. So once again, no, that's his actual name. His actual name is Mighty Bolton. Yeah, that's his real name. So you know what I mean. Like I said, and like I said, once again, Art of Dialogue is one of the most respected platforms on YouTube. If you want to be perfectly honest, you know what I mean. Like I said, so once again, like I said, when we talk about this and we talk about the situation involving Keefe D, we're going to see what happens. Like I said, we in January, February, March. It's in 2 months. It's going to be here in no time flat. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, once again, when you're trying to play all sides of the fence, you're trying to play all angles. You know what I mean? One minute you somebody's friend, the next minute you talk behind their back. The next minute you're calling somebody on the phone. The next minute you talk behind their back. It's the same old garbage, man. Yeah, like I said, thank you again, Carla. Like I said, once again, you go to watch the video. I made a video the other day. The video, let me see something. I could try to get you that information as of right now. Let me see. If y'all want, if you want the information, it's the video titled. Let me go to the video. Uh the other day, it's Tupac's trusted ally Frank exposes Reggie, the Judas, Wright Jr. Yeah, and it's a couple of other ones. Like I said, Tupac and Suge Knight were double crossed in Vegas. It's a few of the videos. Like I said, you got to keep reiterating the truth because, like I said, soon as the truth comes out, they try to cover it up with another lie. So the title, one title of the video is Tupac's trusted ally Frank exposes Reggie the Judas Wright, uh, and the other one, recent one, Tupac and Suge Knight were double crossed. Right? They were double crossed. It's just as simple as that. You know what I mean? And so when you understand that and what happened, like I said, I did the video also on Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. trying to steal the publishing, Suge Knight's publishing and Tupac songs, and I showed you how it was done. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. I showed you how it was done. Let me see what was the title of that video. Um, Let me see. I'm trying to find the title of that video. Yeah, yeah. The title of that video where I show you and break down the fact that Reggie tried to steal the songs from Tupac and Suge Knight, or better yet, steal Suge Knight's publishing company and songs under his publishing company, is caught red-handed. A scheme to steal Tupac's hit and Suge Knight's empire while in jail and dead. Go watch it. Yeah, these are the facts, y'all. These are the facts coming with documentation and information. And like I said, once again, because they were coming at me trying to discredit me about my accomplishments. So, you make me then go and do an investigation involving a situation involving Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. And what he was saying about me and saying about the art of dialogue and, calling us defamatory names and things of that nature. I had to expose him. I couldn't stand by and let you try to, defame me and my accomplishments, and the person who's on the internet trying to defame, real people of real accomplishments and real goals that they accomplished has never accomplished anything in their life. They even failed at being a public servant and being a police officer, right? Now is a convicted felon, right? Who used to straddle the fence. One minute he wanted to be over here with the police, and then the next minute he claiming to be over here with the homies. Who's admitted to being an informant. You understand what I'm saying? Like, how do you trust a guy like that? So, like I said, once again, in dealing with this situation and involving the truth of the matter, you can go check those videos out. Go check out the older videos on my channel. And like I said, I'm just, giving you nothing but straight game. And as we sit here and talk, like I said, yeah, Kevin. So with the Kevin Hackey situation, Kevin Hackey was honest from the beginning. Kevin Hackey didn't try to play both sides of the fence. Like I said, he was, an FBI informant. That's what he was. He was that. Like I said, I had no qualms about that. And also Kevin Hackey was also law enforcement prior to, and he's always maintained that. He's never tried to, play both sides of the fence. So once again, Kevin Hackey was Kevin Hackey. You know what I mean? Um, and I think as well as anybody would know that at that time, Tupac had said in a couple of songs, you know, I know the feds is watching me, and talk about drugs being sold, but I ain't the one selling. You know what I mean? I think Tupac knew, once again, being a Panther child, and part of that COINTELPRO, I think Tupac knew that the feds was watching because he said so much in his song. I know the feds is watching, you know what I mean? But I ain't talking about somebody selling drugs, but I ain't the one selling off of the um All Eyes on Me album. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely, Joe Jet. So he talked about that. So I know, I believe that Tupac knew that the feds were watching him at that particular time. You know what I'm saying? That's why he didn't like Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. and he fired him on August 27, 1996. Reggie liked to play both sides of the fence. And Tupac, and being a Gemini, he could read him. He could read him. This dude's a hater. You know what I mean? He's a hater. And the fact that he had called the police on Suge and Tupac and them when they were at the what was that? The Soul Train Music Awards. Suge just talked about that recently, and that's when he called Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. a Judas, because Reggie called the police on Suge and Tupac and them behind their back, claiming once again he was doing something noble, and trying to protect Suge from himself. But guess what? When it ultimately came to protecting Suge, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was nowhere to be found on September 7th, 1996 in Las Vegas on that night. And now we are here, and here comes the trial involving the murder of Tupac Shakur, which begins um, in 2 months. And y'all know how fast we just got out of 2024. So we're going into 2025, and it's going to be smoking hot and real fast and snappy. So, yeah, like Brandon, we went over that, Brandon. The proffer agreement in relation to what you're saying, the proffer agreement was only supposed to um, allow Keefe D to confess to the federal government and the Los Angeles Police Department. He was not supposed to write a book. He was not supposed to do any other public interviews, doubling down on what had happened in his confession to the feds and the LAPD. And when he wrote the book and did those interviews, doubling and tripling down, that in fact violated the proffer agreement, because the proffer agreement was for that purpose only. So people to understand that. So the proffer agreement has been violated. That's why they went and picked him up. They had no reason to worry about that now based on that fact. So no, like I said, once again, like I said, if Kevin Hackey did give them guns, I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard, anything about any outlaws saying that. So I don't have no information about that. You said, does Reggie have more accountability than Keefe D in the case? That's not for me to decide. Like I said, I just gave you the facts. Who has more accountability or less accountability? Like I said, I think that Keefe D confessing, is accepting, or at one time was accepting, uh, his accountability in the situation, right? And I think Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in his lies has been avoiding accountability, and in some cases he attempted to, accept accountability, but then would quickly divert the responsibility or accountability to Frank Alexander, instead of saying that it was him and his alone, and the responsibility relies with the person at the top, and how he did pull a security off of Tupac. and all of the other things that happened. How he did lie about, the Nextel radio not having a walkie-talkie feature, and then admitting it recently in the grand jury testimony uh, convened to go after Keefe D for his statements. So, like I said once again, yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Deborah Harry, you're right. And so once again, a lot of things can't be argued. You know what I mean? When you look at the P Diddy case, like Puffy has been quiet. You look at the Jay Z case. Jay Z has actually really been quiet, speaking to his lawyer. You know, So once again, and I don't try to associate those. I associate the situation involving the law and how one should conduct themselves when facing um, accusations, or like I said, in Keefe D's situation, he was basically given a deal of a lifetime in the murder of the most famous rapper that we have known in our lifetime, and probably 10 lifetimes to come. Tupac Shakur will be talked about, music will be studied. You see right now on TikTok, they brung the how do you want it back? You know what I mean? With the little dance that they doing now, you know what I'm saying? And all of those things. So like I said, and that only creates interest into all of the other music that he put out if people are not aware of that. So like I said, once again, karma is undefeated. Uh what's that, a God Pyre, if I'm pronouncing that correct. God Pyre Films. Yeah, yeah, karma is undefeated, man. Karma is undefeated. So, one may not, even receive punishment through the law for their underhanded tactics. You know what I mean? But like I said, once again, karma is undefeated. When you go around and you talk about you sick this person on that person, and you sent this person at that person, and you did this and we did that, and we chased this person and we did all of this, and man, karma come get you, man. It's undefeated, and your homies can't stop karma. When it comes to get you, ain't nothing they can do. Ain't nothing, nobody can do. Nobody can save you from what is yours deliberately, because you have done wrong to people and you have wronged and hurt and maimed people. It's just that simple. Yeah, like I said, that's I can't wait to see that. I just can't wait to see actually what kind of evidence they'll have in the case. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. The Keefe D trial starts on March 17th. Um, and we're gonna see what happens. Like I said, they got a hearing coming up on the 21st of this month involving to argue this motion to dismiss. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens with the case. It's it's a murder charge with gang enhancement. So like I said, yeah, and basically it's Keefe D's words against Keefe D's words, if you want to be perfectly honest. Like I said, your boy DELRAY, straight gang. Thank you, Carla Shepard. I appreciate you very much. And I thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.